to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Coxwell, and I'm your host for this evening. You're listening to episode number 367. It is June 8th, 2016, and I am joined by three great guys this week. First and foremost, Talenasty is here.
I thought you said great guys.
I did say great guys. You're right. That's why I introduced you first. Punchinello is here.
Hey, everybody.
And Cereal Box.
Makes sense that I'm last then.
Yes, for this week, yes. Chira Jaden could not join us as he is out doing a midterm or practicing for the midterm or something. He's back in school, so.
SATs.
Midterms.
SATs.
What? He's at high school.
He's in our hearts.
I haven't seen a degree.
Does he need to pull it out, like show it to you on stream?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think any of you have degrees in college, high school. I don't know.
It's
nothing.
right there. It's right here, Cyril. Literally pointing
I
to
probably actually didn't see that when I was at your house, so.
All right. Well, if you guys want to support the podcast, you can do. There's two ways you can do it. One, patreon.com/TForce Network. You can go sign up. Just head on over to that URL. All the information you need is there. Champion selects, replay reviews, all the good stuff. Send us your replay reviews in, by the way, guys. If you are a patron for this month, we've already done two of them. We have an Alawi and a support Zyra, and I find the people who know how to do them most. Of course, Crazy Phil's doing Alawi, and then I had Wrecker N, who just made it to Diamond, playing nothing but support Zyra, do the support Zyra replay review. So perfect. Like, if you have a specific champion, likely we have somebody that can take care of that. If they can't, they'll be able to do the lane just fine.
Have you thought about like putting one of those up, like as a, because like we had the champ select kind of teaser. Have you thought about like saying, hey, is it okay if we put this up as a, like, hey, check this out. This is what people do. This is what we're doing with that replay review. Give them a little taste.
I've thought about it, and I just keep forgetting to email the people and be like, hey, can I use these? I think most people would be okay with it because, like, for the most part, nobody's making crazy mistakes where they're just like running into people and dying. You know, it's just more or less. A lot of people will write back and go, you know what? Now that you said it, what was it? One time, a long time ago, I did a review, and the guy said, now that I've watched you and heard you talk about this, I'm cringing every time it happens. Because it was something like
stuff you don't pick up in the moment, like while you're playing. Even if you were to go back and like watch a replay review on your own, like your own games, you might pick up some of this. But having a second pair of eyes, having one of us look at it, having one of the people associated with the network that plays that champion look at it, it'll point out things that you just can't see yourself because you're the one playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes painfully obvious.
Yeah, and then you cringe.
By easy, I mean, yeah, you cringe for a while until you stop doing it eventually.
The worst is when you're actually in a game and you do like a self-replay review, right? Where you die and you think about, like, you know how Sneaky pulls up like what just happened in the fight? Like, I don't have that add-on, but if I did, it would be the same way. Like, I'll pull up and I'll go, fuck, I walked 2 paces too close that way, or I shouldn't have chased that kill, or like I died. I went, you know what? I knew this was a bad idea. I say this a lot. I know that was a bad idea at the moment, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, there's also a lot of game knowledge. Like, I don't think anyone knows every little intricacy of the game, but you know something that other people don't, and we might know something you don't, and you'll learn something. Just like the first one I did, somebody didn't know that hard CCing the Scuttler drops its armor and MR as they walked by his Alistar while a jungler's struggling to take it with auto attacks, and he just was like, all right, whatever, doesn't help. I'm like, you could have just pulverized it. It would have been fine.
That's great. So yeah, replay reviews, $25 a month, guys. Patreon.com/TForce Network will give you a one-time of those. $50 a month is a one-on-one coaching session, by the way, where we'll actually sit down with you after we do the replay review and play a game and talk to you about it. I actually owe a couple of guys some of those for this month, so I'm going to get back to you if you're listening, by the way. Another way you guys can support the podcast is actually, I don't know how many of you are signed up for Loot Crate, but I know I'm getting it every single month. And if you aren't and you don't know what it is, it's awesome. You need to go look at it. So you need to go to www.trylootcrate.com/TFN and use the code BRIDGE, BRIDGE, Bridge10 to get 10% off your subscription. Loot Crate is an awesome. It's a big nerd culture box. Every single month it has a different theme, and it comes with a bunch of awesome items. A lot of them are specific to Loot Crate, and I think there's always a T-shirt, and then there's always some kind of.
There's always
trinket.
One wearable, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, a wearable. That's a good way to put it.
Sometimes I have I still use my Deadpool socks I got from for a kickball.
I've got a Los Polos Hermanos, the apron that you can wear. I've got that hanging up in my office.
Great Spanish.
I have a desk that is pretty much is lined by stuff I've gotten in Loot Crate, just all those little like figurines or bobbleheads and stuff like that. I keep all those action figures and put them on my girlfriend's desk. She kind of steals all the good ones from my Loot Crate, actually.
Yeah,
So you put them on her desk, or she just takes them?
At first, I was gonna say give it to her, but then I just started being really, really frank and honest, and just no. She thought that one was cute, so she took it.
Is that really how that works? Is she just
Oh yeah, they're all right there.
So you just pick a Loot Crate before the 10% off is about $20 a month. One month plan is it's about 13, but you can upgrade it a little bit. It'll be about $20 after you go in there and upgrade it. You get 10% off. You're going to get it to your door for less than $20 a month if you use our code www.trylootcrate.com/TFN. Use the code BRIDGE BRIDGE 10 Bridge 10 for 10% off your order, and you'll help support the network. Plus, you get this Loot Crate, and we can always share all the awesome stuff we're getting. Loot Crate, everything on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. So, guys, go support us and check out that Loot Crate.
I thought for a second 10% off was $20 off, and I was like, holy shit! How much does this cost normally?
You don't know how big these crates are.
No, they're
this shirt is $150 normally.
They're $19.99. They're $19.95 a month after they're $13 or they're $14 plus shipping, so they come out to be about $20 a month. So you'll get it for under $20 if you use the code. But they also have little add-on plans you can do. Like you can add a T-shirt every single month, I think for $5 or $10, and you could actually make your Loot Crate plan, pretty hefty every month, but you get a lot of really cool stuff you would never get anywhere else. Plus, all the stuff actually equals out to be more than $20 if you look at it. So it's really cool. Go check it out. Use our URL, trylootcrate.com/TFN. Tonight on the podcast, we are actually going to be talking about, we're going to do two things. One, we're going to talk about voice chat in League of Legends, if we like it, if we don't, if we think it needs to be implemented, how we've seen it used in other games. And if we have time at the end, we're going to answer a couple listener questions that are coming over the week. So we're going to walk right into this. I guess we're going to talk about voice chat in League of Legends. I know this has been a hot topic recently. Aphromoo, if I remember correctly, had talked about it and said that voice chat needs to be implemented for this game to have more competitive vibe, because it is a team game with 5 players, etc. That I guess I'll just leave the floor open. What do we think about voice chat?
I think what Afro was trying to say was if you're trying to make League such a team-oriented game, you have to have voice chat. You can't force dynamic queue upon us, but not have this sort of gap in communication. And you want it to be like the competitive scene. You want people to be working together and stuff, but you can't even communicate in something that's been around in gaming for 15 years. Just simple voice comms. That's how I look at it. I think that it's ridiculous that some of the biggest game out there right now doesn't have voice chat. I mean, when I first started gaming online 10, 15 years ago, Team Fortress and Counter-Strike had voice chat. And I didn't have problems with that. I didn't have the time. Like, you get the occasional annoying guy that was playing music over the mic and shit like that, or a rager. But, like, honestly, I get it so much more now in text chat than I've ever gotten in any voice chat game I've played.
I think the problem now with League is that it's too big and it's been too long without voice chat. That introducing it is just introducing, because of how big League has gotten and how big the egos have gotten with this game and how long it's been around, that it's too hard to implement voice chat into that, because I think it's just another way for people to use it as a harassment tool, because the number of ragers they get into a game when you're losing just means that obviously, if we talk about Overwatch, we'll just use that for example, because its latest game, it has voice chat. You press 2, you enter the voice chat channel with everybody else. You can leave it any time. And you're not really, you could get raged at, but I think because it's a new game, people are more forgiving about the raging in this. But since League has been around forever, so many seasoned veterans, it's just another way for people to harass. Especially if it's anything but master tier or challenger, I think people are going to use it for harassment. I know I did Xbox Live for the longest time, and I loved it. I loved going and playing Call of Duty and screaming at people and yelling and having fun. But that's I think there's a different culture to that game than how League is meant to be played. Because do you want to get in this game and listen to somebody start raging at you because you did something wrong? They're going to do it, and they're going to do it in text. So what's going to stop them from doing it in the voice chat?
Because it's voice. Yeah.
I the fact that you can already do it in text, and I know it takes longer and takes you out of the game a little bit to do so. Like it, I am floored. I was absolutely floored when I played even the stress test weekend for Overwatch. Tally and I played that together. And I was amazed with how crisp and clear their voice chat was just immediately. There weren't hangups then. I can understand where people might be concerned about ragers. There's still mute buttons. There's mute buttons in every game that has voice chat, I believe.
Yes.
There's that has to happen anyways. Mm-hmm. And I think that the benefits outweigh the negatives. I think that you're going to get I'd say the one negative that I think would come of it is not that raging would happen. I think it would be more difficult to log raging, whereas with text, exactly the same thing. Is the text portion, it's very easy to pull that up and say, okay, that person's being a dick. I don't know if they'd be able to record comms in that sense. I think that would be a bit more difficult because I can go look at 5 screens of text chat easily, see what's wrong. I can't listen. I doubt they're gonna have people sitting around listening.
You can programmatically search text and look for keywords. This guy's clearly toxic. I don't know of anything that exists for that for voice chat.
Yeah,
it would take
audio files.
If this company is going to be this big and they're trying to put that much time into it, wouldn't they would make a dedicated team that listens to it. I know, for example, Siri records every single thing you say, and then people's jobs is to listen to everybody's Siri logs from your Apple phone every single day to understand what you're saying, and then they record that to make Siri better, to try to figure out what people are searching for all the time, what they're talking to. So if you're making a game,
big brother.
Oh yeah, Apple's watching you. There's people that listen to every Siri. Every time you tell Siri to do something, it's recorded and sent to Apple. I mean, not every time. I actually don't know if it's every time, but I know it happens because that's people's jobs to listen to Siri logs.
So you probably shouldn't talk dirty to Siri.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
If
somebody's listening, and then they're going to tell their friends.
Big brother aside, I think that constantly driving your game's focus towards the lowest common denominator, being that you're worried about what can someone do with this that can possibly go wrong with it, is the wrong way to go about it. How much better would your gaming experience be if you could talk to these people, and how much less would people rage when they hear another voice on the other end of that? It's less. It's less.
I don't
anonymous.
think that's there. It's not less anonymous though. Did you play Call of Duty at all? A
little bit on the Xbox.
Here's what I'll say. I agree that there's more advantages than there are disadvantages in it. I know I would never use it because I don't want to take the risk of even hearing anybody screaming at me, and I know that I don't want to get in there and try to be and listen to some random person tell me where to go.
You have to read people calling you the worst things imaginable anyway.
And you just mute everybody before you get in the game, and that's usually what I do as soon as somebody says something.
You do that with voice.
No, I understand that, and I agree with you. You're arguing points that I've already brought up and agreed with you. My point is I don't want that. I don't join the Overwatch voice chat ever. Not once have I ever joined it because I don't care to hear the people talking, because I don't want to hear somebody random that I don't know tell me you need to go do this, or Widow, go up here and do this, and da or whatever, scream at that type of shit.
You're probably already going to be getting that in text chat. No, you can't leave the text chat in Overwatch.
Hardly anybody talks in Overwatch text chat.
But it's an FPS. Nobody has time to type.
Well, that's because the Overwatch. That is true. It's hard to compare the two.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing to bring up though. Is we're talking about voice chat in other games, and most of these other games are FPSs, where you are constantly in constant action, and you need to be able to communicate with somebody, at the drop of a hat, very, very quickly. Someone's behind you, and if you take the time to write out someone's behind you, they're going to be dead because they're going to get shot in the back. You have to communicate very, very quickly. I know Dota does have voice chat though.
Yes,
and
Dota does. I haven't heard of many people having issues with it, but I've only played a little bit of Dota 2 myself. I'm
curious why. So, let's throw us back to season, I think 3, maybe 4. Curse Voice comes out, and it obviously Curse Voice had a few interesting components to it besides just voice chat. And initially, it had jungle timers, I believe, that is why it got banned for a while by Riot, which is understandable.
Riot let it go for a while, and then
Riot then took that, implemented it themselves, but never really got rid of Curse Voice. And Curse Voice also would alert you when you got into a game if other people in your lobby were also on Curse Voice. Because it
Riot
was
made them take that out, though.
They made them take that out? Okay.
Yeah, you
So
can still post a link, and everyone can instantly join. And it's an easy way. Like now we have Discord, so people would probably use Discord over Curse Voice. But I do remember the era of Curse Voice when you jump into every other or every third Hero League game, someone would post a link, and you get like 2 or 3 people that would jump in there. So maybe make it opt-in. It would just be just like kind of Curse Voice was, but opt-in and built into the client. More people would use it because they don't have to download a separate program. Discord's nice because it's built in the web browser, but you can't do push to talk with the web browser.
Yeah, I would think that like Riot doesn't even need to make it themselves. Like they could outsource that to somebody who's already done the same thing, has already done like everything necessary, minus building it into the client itself. I think that I know
No,
I am saying this as somebody who doesn't program. I know that's
not what I'm laughing
way taller
about.
task, but I think that it wouldn't be that huge asterisk difficult to use something like Curse Voice, Discord, and just I don't know.
I mean, build. So you're saying not to build their own integrated app, but integrate a third-party app with their stuff.
Do you
Then
have
you take away any ability to.
Have you never
log
paid
in.
attention to our Slack group, Serial, and any previous discussions we've had about URLs or anything else that has previously happened with Riot and the League community?
Yeah, man, I haven't been able to Slack in like years now.
Okay. Well, it's not something I can discuss over the podcast. But let's just say they're going to stay in-house when it comes to any of that kind of stuff and not pick up any of the outside creators that do that.
I know.
Your point is well taken, though. I think that might be a reason why Riot hasn't done something like this already. And the same goes for replay, is that there's other tools out there. Like there are other replay tools out there. So would it be nice if they had their own replay tool? Definitely. But they don't feel it's a high priority because it's going to cost them money to recreate something that's already out.
That's an interesting look at it. But voice chat's something that you need everyone to be on the same application. Because even if you're partying with friends or friends of friends and you're trying to get a party of 5 together, like y'all have to say, oh, who has TeamSpeak? Who has Skype? Who has this? And people say, no, Skype anymore. Sucks for me.
That's what Discord is for now.
That's true. That's true. That's all well and good, but not everyone's going to want to use a web-based browser. Not everyone's going to, a lot of people need to use push to talk, so they're going to need to download an app, and you have to download that even for Discord. So Curse was a good one because that was pretty close to almost integrated with League because it did literally plug into the API or the client somehow because it knew who was in there and it spit out a link for you. The only other League experience I could think of was I think it was EVG or VG Gaming. They used to do random tournaments. So you had a chance like every night of the week to win RP, but you'd be put on a team with 4 random people, but you had to use their TeamSpeak. You had to go on the TeamSpeak and everyone had to be there and have a working microphone. So that's an opt-in scenario. Obviously, the people that are doing that are more likely to cooperate because they're trying to win a prize, but, that was one situation where they had and I was friends with one of the admins, and they had to occasionally ban people because they would abuse voice chat or they would be toxic in general or troll. But that didn't really change just because of voice. Like they had, for the most part, it worked real well. Now, obviously, that's a subsection of the gaming group and the gaming community that is opting into it, and they're more likely to get along anyway. But like it adds so much more feeling of teamwork and team orientation to the game. I think it adds just depth to it, and I think it's nice.
I would like to see it if it would have came out within like the first year or two of coming out rather than now. Because again, my argument is
it's a giant now. It's like a mega.
Yeah, because the game
is monstrosity.
The game is such a mega powerhouse, and there's.
But how many people
I'm gonna
would
keep
stop being toxic because they can start hearing people? Like I think
I don't know if that's quantifiable. Unfortunately, like for that argument.
But research has shown that anonymity like kind of helps like add that fuel that you're like more likely to say something to someone because you don't hear that it's another human being on the other side.
I'm not gonna argue one is more toxic than the other. I mean, there's been toxicity on both sides. Mm-hmm. It's actually the reason I quit Dota because there was so much rage over voice chat. I just couldn't take it anymore. But that besides, crap. Damn it! What was I gonna say? So recently, I kind of changed my tune on this. Where for a long time I was very anti-voice chat because I did not want it, but the more I think about it as of recently, I do agree that if you are serious about climbing ranked queue, and if Riot is serious about making that one single queue where teamwork is the focus, then I do think there does need to be a voice chat. Probably not entirely necessary in bronze and silver, but as you get higher and higher, if I wanted to dedicate myself to get to diamond, I would have to bite the bullet and actually join voice chat, 'cause I think communication is just too important. I'd hate it the whole time, but at this stage, League is too complicated. I think it would actually need some sort of
we're
system
dumbed
like that.
down to 4 pings: on my way, danger, and retreat.
Don't mock the pings. I think the pings
I'm not
have done a
mocking the
damn
pings.
good job
I
at
was
this point.
around where there wasn't the smart cursor for pings. They just had the 2, right? Just target this character
Yes,
and
right.
retreat.
Forward and
That was
back.
it. The G and V keys. Yeah. No,
I think the ping
remember the
system's
time.
fantastic.
Yeah, the smart pings were great, and and Overwatch has smart pings as well, so you don't have to have voice chat. You still get some of the other things. I think the smart pings are great, and they do a good job, and it allows you to do something that voice can't do, which is a location on the mini map specifically, and or on your screen and targeting a specific hero. But like you said, if your progression and you're like trying to gear this towards team play, the only logical progression from here is voice chat.
I think another thing that we didn't bring up, because we actually talked about this with Riot Light when we had him on, and we asked him about voice chat, and they said one of the reasonings for not doing so is because you can opt out of voice chat. That is an option for everybody in the game. However, you're going to have 2 different groups of people then. You're going to have the people that do join in the voice chat and they're serious about it and they're serious about communicating and coordinating with the team, and then you're going to have the people that are out of it, and you're going to have those 2 kind of groups that are looking negatively on one another, particularly the group that's trying to communicate but can't because somebody's opted out of it, and they get frustrated and they start blaming that group of people because they're not listening and they could be, and it's because of them that we're losing the game.
I mean,
The more I think about that, I think that kind of already exists with groups of friends that are playing and pubs. That's already built in.
I've already experienced that to an extent. Like I know like even some really high level players in both League and I play a lot of Heroes of the Storm, which is just another MOBA, but that don't like talking. So they'll go on like Discord with us, but they just won't talk. And occasionally they'll unmute themselves if it's a really high level like tournament game. But like one of the best players I know just doesn't like talking, and he doesn't like, but he'll sit on there and listen. So I think there'll be even a third subsection of people that don't have microphones, and or can't talk because it's late at night. They can't bother people around them, and or just don't want to. Like they're introverted. They're kind of shy, but they might go on there and listen so that they could help their team out, and then respond just via text. So I mean, I don't know if you should be like, if you want to make this serious, do you even allow people to opt out completely, or just they have to mute people?
No, you allow people to opt in or opt out. You can't bring something like that up and tell players they have to use this and you have to mute. It's either you're muted by default and you jump in, or you stay muted.
I do think there should be some sort of indicator though for people that are on the voice chat to know if somebody has you muted, so that you're not screaming and then waving your hands like, why isn't he listening to me? And then eventually you go into text and find out, oh yeah, I've got you muted. I think that would save a lot of frustration.
I wonder if it's almost too hard in League though, because of the typing and voice chat thing. Like you're sure somebody could mute you and it mutes you both text and voice, but like at what point is somebody going to be raging and typing? Like they're raging at the enemy team while raging at their team. They're just not playing anymore because they're too focused on doing that. I'm sure it's super small, and it's just any argument. I understand that any argument against voice chat really doesn't hold any weight, just because again the benefits of having a team on voice chat to be able to coordinate to take objectives is more powerful than having everybody off. But because of the way League is and the fact that you can type and you can talk, and there's times that you can actually do both, because League is can be slow in points that it might not have a larger negative impact on it. And it's not something I can even answer or expect anybody else to answer either.
Yeah, it's very hard to measure how much, because I do think some people are more prone to rage via voice chat as opposed to just purely text, just due to inflection in the voice, just hearing somebody that might be talking normally and they might think, oh, this guy's mocking me, I'm gonna give him what for. I think that exists, but you can't measure that, right? Like you can't measure how many more ragers voice chat's gonna create.
But I mean, the default for reading someone else's text chat is definitely like towards the negative. Like, how often do people read
Sometimes.
text chat and assume the best? Almost everyone reads something and assumes the worst and starts getting tilted immediately. Especially if it's criticism, you can even put like a smiley face after it, people still get tilted.
Oh man, that smiley face is always sarcastic.
Ugh, fucking asshole smiling at me after I died. I Yeah, I think the room for abuse is always going to be there. Like, you'd have to put some sort of precaution in that, like, maybe if someone gets reported for abusing voice chat specifically, they randomly hone in like a random drug test. They randomly record a part of one of their games, because recording text chat takes almost no like database space. And I'm saying that times a million players, that's a lot, but text is relatively cheap and database storage is relatively cheap. But voice, on the other hand, even if it's compressed and whatnot, does take up a lot of room. So you'd have to, like, if you were going to monitor and punish people for voice chat, it'd either have to be automated in that, like, they get 10 reports and they're automatically banned from voice chat for a little bit or ranked for a little bit, or they'd have to do, like, a random sampling and see, all right, if this guy has got caught cursing at his teammates once, he's banned from ranked for a month or something.
Is this Silicon Valley time where we get the middle out compression algorithm to help with everybody? And come on, the other joke, right? The stroking.
You're asking me as the resident programmer.
I didn't watch the series.
Yeah,
I've watched the first season or the first couple episodes of that, so I understand slightly what you're getting at here. But
you'd have to watch the entire first season to understand.
So I do wonder, like, on a kind of different note, I think that Riot has over time been implementing things that are supposed to increase, I don't want to, accessibility isn't the right word, but adding in jungle timers, adding in more info for people. They're trying to, I want to say, increase the competitiveness. Like, you have to get better. Something has to be better. But maybe that's a step toward, like, that's something that they could do. I just don't know what they're going to do next, which obviously it might be out of nowhere, but
I hate all of that. I hate when they added jungle timers.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm also having a hard time phrasing it. They're providing more information.
Yeah.
Well, the ultimate timers, I think, were nice.
Did you read Tally? Did you read what they said today about jungle timers in the mid-season update?
I did not. Was this a new post?
Yeah, it was a new post that was made today. They actually said that they are still looking at jungle timers and seeing how it affects the game, but they don't feel like the jungle timers are that negative because it just makes you play differently. Like, it brings a different style. It brings a different style of oh shit! Basically, it's a different way to play the game with jungle timers because they want people.
Jungle timers. I mean the original ones. I didn't like any of the jungle timers. I was the guy timing my red, my blue, and the opposing team's red and blue in chat for the rest of my team for 2 years, and then they removed that skill set. Like, you spend years building up a skill set.
That's what they mentioned though. They said basically their philosophy on it. They're still looking at it. They said they don't know if they are. Basically, the way I read it is they don't know if they're going to keep them, or they don't know if they keep them, get rid of them. I think that they're likely going to keep him. It was more likely they're going to stay.
They're not going to take that away. People bitch
because they want people to fight around red and blue, and they've noticed their statistics tell that more people have been fighting around red and blue thanks to the timers. There's been more jungle fights around objectives because of those timers. But all these people that learned a skill have to learn a new skill, and that's what they like. That this game is still evolving. Now there's a new skill around that where you have to learn how to, like, you could. I don't actually know the skill. They just say you have to learn a new skill, like maybe
how to deal with invades.
Yeah, how to deal with invades, how to ward, how to play defensively, how to protect your buffs properly when both players know the timers. Like, there's more skill to that when everybody knows, has more information available to them, because then you have to use that to your advantage.
But good players already knew the timers. Like, good players already, like, saw that your bot lane gave a leash so that your blue buff's going to be the same time as my red buff is, and they timed both in chat.
Right, then that's with 30 million people playing the game, you allow that, you open it up to everybody. Curve. You open that up.
It was always open to everyone. Anyone could use the team chat, type it in, turn on your time spans, and just type OB, R blue.
Correct. It was open to everybody, but now it is really accessible.
This is going back a while, because I know the self jungle timers have been in there for a while. But
I'm just pointing out that Riot is looking at the stuff, and they are aware of people's arguments and everything that we're arguing about right now.
They might get rid of knowing everyone else's. Like, they might undo that, but I don't think they're going to undo the change they made. What was it, 2 seasons ago?
Oh no, I don't think they're even going to get rid of the red and blue timers and all that type of shit. I think they're going to keep everything in there forever. I think that line of text, honestly, the way I read it was more of, yeah, we know your concerns, but here's a line of text that is ambiguous to try to hold you over to make you think that we might do something about it.
So it's like we might release solo queue, that sort of thing.
Hey, Trinamir, if you read Trinamir's blog, he even said in that just the way Riot's culture is, that they never actually intended to really re-release solo queue definitively.
Well, they said at the beginning of the season that there was not going to be any more solo queue at all. Then people bitched, so then they later said, "Oh, we never said we're getting rid of it," when they did.
Trindamir's blog post goes over that, and it's the way he explains it is the culture that they, remember Punch last week or whatever it was, brought up to Skarsgård about WoW or Blizzard never talking about context and patch notes and never coming out to the community and really talking with the community all the time. Riot has a different approach in that, where they want everybody to go out and always talk to the community, but when everybody's talking to the community, every person who's read, their words are taken as gospel. So if one person slips up and says, well, we're looking at it, and somebody's going to misconstrue that, say, they're thinking about bringing solo queue back, they're going to bring it back. But then another red says, we're not bringing it back. So Trinamir basically came out there and said, listen, it's just the culture. We apologize if there's some ambiguousness in the way people are talking, but it's because our culture, we want everybody communicating and feeling like they're part of the community.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm all for dynamic queue. I was since the beginning. That when they first said they were doing that, I jumped the train. I was excited.
Dynamic queue or champion select?
Dynamic queue. Champion select as well, but dynamic queue, because I always, even if I'm doing, I always get a third person messaging me wanting to play, and so on and so forth. And I've always been someone that is having more fun playing the game if I could be on voice chat with people. Hence, kind of my pro voice chat argument this entire time, full disclosure, all that and jazz. But when they said it, they said solo queue's gone, dynamic queue is in. So that implies that solo queue is gone. And then Riot Light comes out, and not only was it just a random Reddit post, but it was actually like a blog post at the top of the forum written by Light saying, we never said that we're getting rid of solo queue. And I think they were just doing that to appease the community, and then they did research on it, and they were waiting for the numbers to come back.
Light is gone now, we don't know the exact reason why or what happened, but could speculate.
No one brought that up. I throughout all that stuff, and this is going way back. Throughout all that, I don't see anyone saying, "No, you said it was gone." Everyone just latched onto, "Oh my God, it might not be gone." Mm-hmm. But I think I was one of the few people who was like, "No, they said it was going to be gone." If you bring it back, then you're going back on your word. But that's another, obviously you could change what you doing with the game for the betterment of the community, or if things change. But
if we are talking about dynamic queue, I think Riot has. We might as well just kind of chat.
Yeah,
let's rabbit hole.
Devolved into it. Yeah,
whatever. Fuck it. This is the podcast. We're just chatting. Cheers. Punch. You had a.
I think I wanted to bring up one more thing on voice chat, but I think that's dead at this point, so we can move on.
No, go for it.
One thing I don't think we brought up is something else a different game is doing, Smite, what they're doing. So last time I played, and it's been a while since I played, maybe a year or so.
Basically dead at this point.
It could be, but what they had instead of voice chat was built-in voice commands. So there was just a generic voice, and you would enter two to four keys, and that would output a command to the rest of your team, like "I'm on my way" or "middle lane missing," and everybody had access to that. So that was
pretty much like smart pings that are read aloud to you.
Overwatch has that.
Very specific smart pings.
Overwatch
they did get pretty detailed, like "let's go take dragon," and it was this ridiculous voice, and you could buy custom voices. So that's another option.
That eliminates the listener, the other four people on your team, if you were to implement something like that for League. Smite's 5-on-5, correct?
Yeah,
yes.
It's everything. Okay. It's 1-on-1.
Yeah.
I think 4v4 is the only one you can't do. I think it goes 1-3 and then 5v5.
I just meant it's a 5v5 game.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they allow 1-3.
I was saying
5.
It's like League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm. It's a 5-on-5 MOBA. I've seen some competitive play. It's just been a while. So that's cool. I like that. I think what that does is it removes for the other four people the having to read it. Obviously, the person you can't do that in the middle of a team fight and stuff like that. But yeah, I like what Overwatch does with it.
The one problem it does have is you have to memorize all those commands.
Yeah.
It started with V, and then you had to press C for this category, and then X to say whatever you wanted to say. So new players have a hard time actually learning these commands. And there was still trash talking. Like whenever somebody died, you would get all the good jobs, good jobs, good job, good job.
I was thinking of Hearthstone with their built-in
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
with the oops.
Yeah, it was just like that stuff.
Yeah, exactly like that. You can't technically troll them too hard because you can't make it into anything, but you know what it means.
I miss
you know
Sorry.
when the PM is
Incredible,
there.
incredible.
Well,
Yeah,
all
so
right,
that still exists.
It's kind of funny because so I play a lot of Heroes of Storm, which is another MOBA. There's no voice chat in that either, but there's no all chat at all. You cannot ever all chat anything.
It's the second time you said that. in
I
this
know.
podcast. You said play Hero of the Storm, which is another MOBA.
Every
20
time you
minutes
feel like you
later.
have
Well,
to.
I don't know if
Yeah, but
everyone knows
it's
what it
Heroes
is.
of Storm.
There's people that haven't heard of it before, so
No, but the
I
fact that you said it twice is.
blame it on the IPA. You can't even
One-
all chat at all.
one
So like
IPA.
the way of
Congratulations,
BMing people,
Tally.
it's just going way off the rails. But the way of BMing people is just recalling on their body repeatedly or at their base, like spamming the recall because there's no like, what is it like? There's a very very tiny cast animation, so people turn that into this form of BM or
People
taunting.
find a way.
Hey,
Yeah.
people BM in League by hitting their mastery icon if they kill you. So that's,
Yeah.
We're dying.
Not only did they
Team.
do that, they brag about it to Riot Games on video for ULOL videos. One of the guys that coached, he said that and it got published to the front of the client. He said, "Yeah, after we dominate your lane, get ready to see my level 6 mastery emote or something like that." That was the whitest trash talk I've ever heard, dude.
Well, let's wrap around the dynamic queue for a second because I wanted to bring up a point that I thought was interesting, and that's I think a lot of people. I think the majority of people are not going to agree with me when I say this, but I think that the dynamic queue problem for high elos has been fixed. However, it's the matchmaking which hasn't been fixed because
Champions select.
they've reduced the champion slide hasn't been fixed yet, and the queue times it's champion slide that hasn't been fixed for high elos. They fixed dynamic queue for the high elo people, the master people, because they made it so you can only queue with two other people now. You can't do a full 5-man pre-made
I
above.
thought you could if it was peak hours, or do they?
For the best I know, you can't.
It's something to considering, I think.
Yeah.
Because they still want to bring in a way to 5v5 practice. But
Yeah,
that might be through tournament
that
run
is really really bad for the competitive community that isn't at the pro level.
Oh, the whole ranked fives thing's a whole nother discussion.
Well,
we
I mean,
could
the
have,
vast
but-
majority of the player base can still like rank together and stuff as long as they're within an elo, but you can't even practice. My collegiate team can't practice together. They couldn't do it ever since they removed like master players being able to not play with Diamond 5 players. Like, they got rid of any way of practicing, but they're sitting here pushing, university law like it's the next greatest thing. And it is amazing. And the work they've done with it, the production value that they've done with it, the communities they've grown with it is awesome. But then they get rid of like the main way of practicing. Like, obviously there's still scrims and there's communities and forums for setting up scrims. Like, but as like I've seen the frustration from a lot of collegiate
Oh, it would
organizers.
piss me off too.
And that's just a subsection. Obviously, there's people that play competitively that are higher elos, but not going pro anytime soon.
See, I think the whole dynamic queue stuff with the high elo, the master. I read the post on our league the other day from a master level player saying it's the worst that he's ever been in, and most of the times it's 20-minute stomps or free mid and stuff because they'll, get certain players in the game, etc. But I really think the pros are to blame when it comes to all this, and not so much Riot. And the fact that a lot of pros, like the top 200 master players, or it's master players, right? Yeah.
Challenger.
Sorry, Challenger. Thank you. I don't know why I said Master. The top 200 players there, or even some of the Master players, are basically every person has 3 or 4 Smurfs, and a lot of those pro players will wait and they'll go play on their old Smurf until it passes their other Smurf, and then they'll play on that Smurf, right? So for every one person, they've got 5 accounts up in Master and Challenger, mucking up the system, so the queue times get longer and longer because the brackets get fuller and fuller, and a lot of times the people playing are the problem.
Matchmaking is never based on what your like shown elo is. It's always based on hidden MMR.
Yeah, right. That's a problem. Though they let their shit decay all the way down, so they're a master level player.
Yeah,
like
but your
Pole
MMR
Belter.
MMR never decays.
I know it doesn't, but if you saw the other day where Pole Belter got put together with like a bunch of low diamond players, for example, I mean, some of the matchmaking went from this little tiny little hole of looking for people, and it kept going out and out and out and out and out and out and out until it found the people to play with, and it happened to be a bunch of Diamond 1 and Diamond 2s for them to play with because the matchmaking just kept, expanding. until it found players for him to play with.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, pros do this usually because they want to stream, and they're getting 30-minute queues, and no one's going to watch a stream if they're sitting in queue, so they go on a Diamond 1 account, and then that eventually gets up to Master or Challenger as well.
Yeah, and that all comes back to like Champion Select though. Like no one's fucking.
Well,
playing
that was
support and
always
shit.
done. I mean, pro players always made a couple of accounts. I mean, was it season 2? Wild Turtle had like 3 accounts, and they were 1 through 3. You know,
Plus,
like,
when master and challenger level players are only a few hundred players total, a little more than a few hundred. But when there's really not that many players playing in that tier, that's not a product of like. That's not a product of Dynamic or Champion Selector, all that type of shit. Like, there's just the players that aren't good enough to play. There's not enough players that can play in that high enough elo that can play against each other all the time. And there's not enough players queuing during those hours that players want to play because
especially if
there's
you're
only
queuing
500 people there playing.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are playing till like 4 or 5 in the morning too, and then people start to log off, and then you get wider matchmaking sets of boundaries, and you have less quality match. But I mean that's just going to happen. You have to choose. Do you want a longer queue time or do you want better matches? They could sit there and queue for an extra 20 minutes, but it might only increase it by a marginal amount if it's off peak hours.
I've heard some people talk about like putting sliders in the game, and I don't know if I like this idea, but like putting a slider in the game that says I would like a longer queue time because I want my role.
People would find a way to abuse that immediately.
Type of stuff.
I hate, and I was just at the beginning of this podcast against going to the lowest common denominator and people abusing stuff, but people would find the way to win the most games, and it would ruin like the competitiveness of the ladder or the integrity of it possibly.
Well, no, the slider would basically be I either want my role 70% of the time, or I want my role, or I will fill 60% of the time. That type of slider type of thing.
I thought you meant I want to wait less time or I want a better quality match. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if that wasn't the exact slider that I saw somebody had post. But I think he actually proposed like 3 or 4 sliders. The sliders would balance themselves out based on what one you pull. And I thought the system was too elaborate for most people to use. But like being able to choose if I want a longer queue time. The whole fill thing, for example, right now it auto-fills you if your queue's too long. I really do think you should be able to opt out of that.
I agree, but that's for higher level, isn't it? Isn't it auto queue only for Diamond or Master and
Diamond
above?
3 plus or something?
Right. You should still be able to opt out of it, though.
I agree. It's a pretty BS feature. But at the same time, you got like 2 groups of people, right? You got the group of people that are like, I am willing to wait longer to get my role. And then like the person right behind them is like, man, this queue time is too damn long. What the hell did they do to Champion or to a Dynamic queue? It's a Dynamic queue's fault when it's Champion queue's fault.
I have 10-minute
2 groups
queues.
of people that like are on opposite ends, but they don't seem to realize it.
Yeah.
Like you got the person in the back saying, "Oh yeah, I agree that."
They both are saying it's all right.
I too would wait longer to get my role, but they're also complaining about queue times. Like you can't have it both ways, people.
Yeah, if you don't want to wait long for queue times, queue is support, guys.
I don't really have a problem with the autofill. Obviously, it doesn't affect me because I'm not that high elo, but I think that it's a flawed system, and I understand why people are pissed, but they're trying something.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I
people
don't like
complained
that
for
people,
years that they wanted role selection. They complained for
and,
years that they wanted. They always compared it to like they wanted the WoW Dungeon Quest Finder something.
Group Finder.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just the fact that they're
guys.
the fact that they're like experimenting with a bunch of stuff, and this season seems to be a very experimental season. I'm okay with it. Like they're trying a bunch of things, and I know people are gonna get pissed, but that's still like you don't hear about the people who are happy about it because no one's speaking up and rising to the top of any system saying, "Hey, this is a pretty good thing. I like it." Whereas everyone who's yelling and rampaging and pissed off is going to start more mob riots. No pun intended there.
Have you seen the pros? Like I think Medios, I know he tweeted that Dynamic Queue is okay. There was a couple of pros that I saw that tweeted. They're like, yeah, I really don't have a problem with Dynamic Queue. Basically what they're saying is I have a problem with the queue times.
Yeah. And they're taking steps to fix it. And honestly, like think about it this way. Autofill, let's say autofill is just the most devilish thing that's ever happened to League. You know what Riot can do? Take new champion select away. Guess what happens again? You guys are fighting when you get into a queue about pick order.
Yeah.
That would be
I
great,
think
right?
that might
Doesn't
be
everyone like it?
preferable for the top level.
It might be.
I know
but-
a lot of top level players that say they would rather go back to that, but they also
But I think
wanna get rid
dynamic
of dynamic,
or new champion select is vastly superior for the rest of us.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
I don't want to give that up. I love it.
Anytime I watch a stream, though, 90% of the time, people would just give the role to the pro player because they knew the pro player was good at
Yeah.
that role.
Yeah. How many times do you see QT doing anything other than AD carry?
Double
he,
left.
he streams so much that he gets it occasionally, that you see it sometimes, but like, what does he get it? Like, even before this, even before Champion Select, he'd get it in 99% of his matches, 95% of his matches or something.
And people would be like, I play AD carry. Oh, PewDiePie's in here. Well, you can have AD carry because you're obviously the superior, you know, they think, obviously, you're the superior AD carry because you play all the time, so you should take it.
Also, they'd get potentially flamed by a bunch of Twitch watchers that he didn't give up the role.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I don't like the autofill feature, but I agree it's a step in the right direction that they're experimenting, and it's probably a necessary evil. And until they make further changes for the highest level, I mean, they got to do something to lower queue times.
Well, maybe if you're Diamond 1 and above, you got to learn to play other roles, buddy. Or maybe, you know, if you don't like it should be kind of obvious. Like, if you don't want a high queue time, just hit fill when you go and queue up.
But they want to wait longer to get their rolled.
Well, not everyone.
But they don't want to wait that long.
It's an option. It's already built in slider. Just hit fill. That's it. You can go back to the old system pretty much. You'll get a random roll.
I'm at the point where I'm getting, I think my average queue is probably about 3 minutes right now, maybe 2.5 minutes. So it's roughly around there. I mean, I've seen queues upwards of 10 minutes rolling into Plat 3 at this point, but I usually choose bot and top, and I know I'm in the minority when I talk about this, but I get bots so often that when I go top, I feel so damn rusty and out of place that it's like almost a loss for myself because I get that second queue, and I almost wonder if I would rather just have to be able to pick one role and sit in the queue longer just to get that one role.
I know that feel, bro.
I mean, I think that it's still better than the old system where you might get put out a role you're completely uncomfortable with and you're super rusty.
Oh,
I
yeah, it's
haven't
way
played
better.
in years, so
If then they were like, hey, you got a jungle, I'm like, this is like season 3 or whatever. Like, I can't jungle at all. I don't have
you can still use chat, man. Still use chat.
Well, no,
Pretty
you can
sure
type
if
it. No idea.
if you dropped it to one role selection, I think two things would happen. Every fill would be playing support, and all of queues would skyrocket in times.
Oh, it would.
That would be
Like, it
horrible.
would,
That's the
but,
thing.
like by so much more than you expect.
That's the thing. Even if you're not one of the people that's not using the one role selection, you're still doing your two. It would still affect you because what everyone else is doing affects your queue time. So
Right.
that's
Or
why
the-
That's why I've never agreed with allowing people to have a slider at all.
The simple
Yeah,
simple
it
fix
would-
is switch to support after season 3. Hello, I don't have to worry about queue times, guys.
I played support to
Damn you.
Plat 1 last season, and
What?
yeah, I played support
Annie.
Soraka and Braum to Plat 1 last season.
When did you play Annie? Was that last season?
No, that was my Plat 5 season. Like season 3 is when I hit Plat for the first
I
time.
thought you got pretty. Oh, maybe.
that was
yeah.
that was season 3, the first time I had ever hit Plat, and then there was
Then you were allowed to start a podcast because you finally hit plat.
The
About
season
that.
after that I didn't play. I didn't play season 4. Season 5 I got to Plat 1, and this season I'm trying again. So there you go. I'm sure everybody has their
Cool
story.
story.
Right, I know. Like, people really give a fuck. Some people do.
Yeah.
I love it when we get random comments. I OPGG'd everybody on this podcast, and they only have 200 ranked games played at mid-season. Like, fuck you, dude. I'm not a fucking college
I've
kid.
got like maybe 25 or 30.
Yeah, that's what they're like. The one guy only has like 30 games played. He obviously can't talk about the
30.
game.
Oh man.
Yeah, check.
Wish
check
I had
all-
30.
Check all 4 or 5 of my accounts.
I'm pretty low. Well, I mean, we have a lot of stuff that we're doing too.
The shit no, these are just random people. It's like you get a
called
random
Overwatch.
person. Yeah, of course.
Well, that
Or
and
Hearthstone.
but you could seriously see my like ranked games per season has just kind of gone down. I mean, first couple seasons I had hundreds of games per ranked season. Then it was like 80. Then it was like 50, and then like 40. Like I hit diamond and I just coasted and like I'm sorry, I just don't have as much time as I used to.
You don't have to defend yourself. Those people, those are just the random Redditors that you get on those random threads. You know.
All right, what are you doing posting on Reddit, Adam?
I posted it
Yeah,
on
supposed to be
Reddit
there.
the wrong week that we should.
We told you not to play that anymore, Adam.
play what?
We told you to get off of the Reddit.
I should probably go to my
Playing the
host
Reddit?
files and ban the Reddit.
You're just going way over people's heads now.
If we had an intervention for you, that'd be pretty funny.
You've tried. Hey, let's talk about some of the feedback that we received because you know what? This is some really cool feedback. Zach, Chaos 5. What is this? No, that's 10. 13. Sorry. It is Chaos 13.
No, it's Chaos G. That's probably 13.
Yeah, Chaos 13. He wrote in. He goes, "Hey, my name is Zach, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I really appreciate all the helpful content you guys produce. Because of your feedback and all the tips you guys give, I finally got to Gold 5, which I've been trying to do for the last 3 seasons. I just want to say thank you and keep up the awesome work. From Zach." Thank you, Zach. That means a lot.
Congrats on finally making it to Gold, man.
Exact-
The promised land.
I hope we're doing a compliment sandwich instead of sucking our own dicks too hard. And I hope you have like one positive and then one negative, then another positive here. But I
Wait,
don't think
actually-
you would have posted that one.
It's just sucking dick and hand jobs.
The last negative,
fantastic.
the last negative comment we had was on our patch note discussion for 6.9. The person was very, very upset by the way we did the 6.9 because that was like the big patch. It was either 6.8 or 6.9. It was like a huge patch, right?
Didn't we
It
go
was the
over that
major
like over?
update.
Didn't we go over like 3 or 4 episodes for that patch?
Yeah.
Because there's just so much, and then we got bitched at for doing hypotheticals, but like none of this shit is out, and even if the stuff you play on the PTR, like, or not PTR,
What?
the beta,
PTR, Public Test Realm, I mean, the same thing.
PBE.
PBE, sorry,
okay. I was gonna try to come up with something fun for that acronym, but
public test realm, sorry,
Wasn't a real
PBE, and yeah, even like me and Cyril went and checked out some champions, but it's impossible to find an actual match in that realm, like. So a lot of that's hypothetical, but we did deserve some criticism too.
Yeah. And then we came back, and then the next feedback we got was like, "Great job on the next one. You guys did a really good job." And I'm like, all we did was just decide what people had to look at. But hey, if that's all we need to do, that's perfect, right?
It helped.
Oh, speaking of feedback, I did really appreciate all of you who posted on the thread I posted on Reddit for the T-Force Network subreddit that was asking about feedback on Champ Select. There was actually a lot of very good and insightful info posted. So there was I didn't see any trollsy comments. Everyone was pretty. I mean, I feel like people who are paying for things want to get their input heard, and I really, really do appreciate hearing that, and I will be taking that into account with future episodes.
Do we know if Gritty listens to this podcast? I doubt he does, right?
I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, Gritty,
You
if
could
you're
GM
I'm sure he
GM in
does.
the middle of
He
this
does.
episode.
I did
He
DM
loves
him,
us.
and he did help me. But you know what's funny is Mary will listen to some of the Champion Select podcasts with me because
Wait,
I
is she
kind of
paying?
listen to them, and she'll always,
Paying?
huh?
Is she paying?
Yeah, of course. She's paying in other ways.
Oh,
She has to be married to you, so you might as well have some books in your dowry.
Yeah, that's right. She knows she's a speech pathologist. That's what she's going to grad school for. And she listens to people talk, and she immediately goes, "You need to tell that person they have this problem with their speech, or they talk this way, or they have this." Like he totally does this, and I'm like, I can't just DM some random person that came on Champ Select and say, "Hey, you need to seek out a speech pathologist because you have a lisp."
Wait, I'm now scared because if she's listening to a bunch of Champ Selects, that means she's listening to me talk a lot. And
No, she's never put anything up about you.
Oh, okay,
She has pointed some things out about guests, though. Like,
Okay.
some people have creaky voice and lisps, or they can't say their this.
just don't have a- they just
I do
don't have
talk
audio
a
equipment
lot,
we do.
so I'm pretty used to it.
Yeah,
But you know these people don't like do podcasts twice a week.
and that's what she's like, "Do you have this person on the podcast all the time?" I'm like, "Nah, he's only been on one." He's like, "Well, you need to DM him and tell him that it does this." I'm like, "I can't do that." You can't just out of nowhere be like, "Hey, my fiance says you has creaky voice. You should seek out a speech pathologist."
Or great info. Yeah, just get the sandwich. You'll be fine.
Doesn't
Compliment
work
sandwich.
well.
Hey, I loved the episode. Your voice is kind of creepy. You should do something about that.
Creaky.
But that was
No, no,
awesome
it
info.
wasn't-
Thanks
it was
for that.
creaky. It wasn't
When you-
creepy.
I can't do it.
Oh,
really
you can say
often.
creepy.
Well, no,
Creepy's
then
fine.
she would have had stuff to say about me.
I was gonna say that. No, she likes Mitch. She did tell me she likes Mitch. She said he's a very nice guy.
Well, she's very wrong.
I don't think so. You are a
Horrible
very
judge
nice guy.
character.
Now she gets to meet Punch. Wait, no. Yeah, she hasn't met Punch yet in real
No,
life.
she has.
Wait, she did? When?
For
Oh yeah, all mid. That's right. Duh.
all mid. That was it.
We talk about all mid just because it's the Mary 5 minutes. She thinks of you as the guy who doesn't talk very much, and Chris is the person who slept with the dog. That's how I have to.
What?
Pretty accurate.
Whoa.
Chris Alphanar stayed at.
No, I know who you're talking about. The phrasing on that was a little weird.
Eris went and slept with him when he stayed at our house.
Okay. That's better.
She knocked my door down in the morning and let the cat in. The cat that I'm allergic to. And that cat knew I was allergic to it. It was like, hey, buddy, want to get a good whiff of my fur?
Pone, when are you announcing exactly where people can come to your wedding?
Not on the podcast at all. I will be buried. I have 2 more podcasts as a... I'm not single, but you know what I mean. As a non-married man. Yeah. Then I'll be officially married next Thursday. I will not tell you where or where we are meeting or what day's party's happening.
I wish that had been like a special portion of the scavenger hunt. Was they had to find your wedding and
on the date.
What if that was the prize? You got to crash Adam's wedding.
Oh God, please don't.
We won't tweet it, guys. Don't worry, wink. Oh, wait. I'm supposed to say that part.
All right, guys. I think that's it. Before these guys release any more information, you guys could be very upset about Dynamic Q and what we said and stop listening to this podcast. I am totally okay with that. And, hey, this is the only time I'm ever going to say I don't want your feedback. I know what your feedback is on Dynamic Q.
Oh, you mean on this episode specifically? Okay.
Yes. You could write in about voice chat. Yeah, please, if you have something about voice chat, write it in. But if you have something about Dynamic Q or Champion Select, I don't give a fuck. Don't even waste your fucking time writing to me. I will delete the email the moment anything about Dynamic Q comes into my inbox. Because we only talk about it because you guys want to hear about it, but we're never going to talk about it again. That's why I don't want to hear your feedback, because I will never bring it up and talk about it again. It's not because I don't love you. It's just I know you're wasting your keystrokes by typing to us.
Hey, but if you're going to leave listening to the podcast because of what Adam just said, make sure to check out Loot Crate before you do.
Oh, well said. Well said. All right, guys, that's episode number 67. Voice Chat and League is the name of this podcast. This is Training Force Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us, supporting us, and doing everything. Please check out, by the way, one last announcement before we get out of here. Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every single week, Thallium is hosting Community Ranked Night. If you're looking for a duo partner, a trio partner, or even a 5-man group, join this. Just you have to go sign up. You type in your name, your email address, all the good stuff. You join Discord at discord.trinityforcenetwork.com. All that information is available on our subreddit at T-Force Network. You can join. You can play with a 5-man group. You can help rank up with a bunch of people with the same rank as you. You can find duo, trio partners, whatever you want. It's a really awesome night. It's been getting really big.
Very awesome.
And there's been lots and lots of groups every single week playing. I urge you to join into the community at discord.trinityforcenetwork.com. That's it, guys. That's the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We will see you on Monday with more discussion. Peace.
See you guys.
Yep.
See ya.